Hello dear students, welcome back to Programming Fundamental course. Previous lecture we have talked about programming languages as a whole and then assembly language, machine language and then high level programming languages, and we have talked about the advantages and disadvantages of each of them. We have talked about C++ especially and the IDEs we are going to use through this course. We have had some useful links, either it is Kurdish Arabic and either it is from YouTube or the website and stuff. So today we are going to go further with the C++ programming. Let's go to the next slide and see what are we going to study. So in this course, in this subject, in this lecture, we are going to talk about basics of programming and introduction to a C++, some basic codes and some concepts of programming, how to think in a way, in a problem solving way, how to give like computer-based solution for your problems, creating flowcharts, and using algorithm application to write some basic or to design some basic applications. Okay, so first of all, you should know that we have talked about some textbooks we will be using through this semester. So this chapter, you can study this chapter in these books. In Tony Gaddy's book, it is chapter 2 from this page to this page, and D.S. Malik book from 10 to 26, except this. You may read these as well, but if you didn't understand, there's no problem with that. It's not something you may like understand very much, but if you just know something about programming and stuff, you can see it and understand the basic how the program or how the computer is working. Okay, so what is a programming? Series of instruction to a computer to accomplish a task. We can say it's something like this. Or instructions must be written, and instructions must be written in a way the computer can understand. And programming languages are used to write these kind of things. So there should be some instructions which are accomplishing a task. Then it should be written in a way that the computer understands. Okay. I think previously we have talked about these languages, and we will be using high-level language C++. Okay, I think we can shift to the Visual Studio. So I will open my Visual Studio. I have both Visual Studio Code and Microsoft Visual Studio. We will go through Visual Studio to write some very basic C++ code. Right now, this is the first interface of the Visual Studio. I can right now create new project from here, file, new and project, or simply I can click here, new project. If I didn't like this kind of like brightness and stuff, I can go to tools, options, and in here color theme, I can choose between them blue and dark. I like the dark one. And for the fonts and colors of the code you are writing, you can change it. This is the kind of the font have been used, and these are the item background and the font size you are going to use, if it is bold or not, the code, the editor you are writing. So you can edit the editor, or you can customize the editor according to um, how you like it to be. I don't like the brightness and all white thing. I like the dark one. And here we can go through it. Okay. So I'm creating a new project. Always when you're creating a C++ program for any like single program, you should always create a project for it. Okay. The project is simply creating a folder The folder's name is project. For mine, it is project 3. And where it is saving in this location. So it's saving in Visual Studio 2015 and stuff. So I'm going to Control C and copy this and simply paste it and see if I am in a right position. Okay, so I'm here right now. I'm in this project, so projects, and I have two projects, project 1 and project 2. So these are basically the folder name where I'm going to create the project inside. Okay, so right now I'm in project 6, so I simply give a name to it, and let's say first, let's say first application. Okay, so I write first application, and this is the solution name. If you go back here, yes, so here's the solution name. So from the project one, it has nothing have been created. That's why we don't have the solution. But whenever you are creating your project, you always have the solution here. So you double click on it and you load the program itself. So this is the name for this. It can be different. It can have the same name as the project itself. I hope it's clear. And then first of all, I'll give both of them the same name, and I'm choosing from if you see here, there's Visual C Sharp, Visual Basic, C++, F Sharp, JavaScript, Python, and all the others. So you can simply, what you are doing right now is you may not have all these, you may have just 2 or 3 of them, but these are all packages. You can install it from the internet. So what you are studying, we are studying Visual C++, and in here we have many things. So I just click on the general, and I'm opening an empty project. So this is an empty project which doesn't have anything. These may have different things for different purposes. Okay, so this one is for Windows 32, and this is for the Windows like creating forms and applications. We are going through what's the from the zero from the beginning. So we are opening an empty project. We are simply right now telling the computer to the Visual Studio to prepare an environment for us to run and to create, to write C++ code inside. And I'm clicking on OK. So it needs sometimes to load up, and it's a bit, what do they say? It's a bit, if the computer is not a bit quality, it needs sometimes to load the Visual Studio to start the Visual Studio. Okay, so right now our project is being created. So my project's name is first application, and I should create, right now I cannot create anything, I cannot write anything. So I should create a new file to work on. So here in the project, I can add new item here, or I can come to the source file in the Solution Explorer here in the here, and I can right click on it, and there's an add. After the add, I can say add new item. Okay, I can add more than one item, but it will always, in a project, one file is working. Only one file is the main. It's like a human can only have one head. So in a project, always there is one file is working as a main. Okay, so let me create the new file here. Add new item here, and it says there are many things here. So in the cpp.file, I can say change the name for it. I can give any name to it. This is the source file, the file that contains all the code I'm writing. Okay, this is not the environment. This is the file that has the C++ code I'm writing. So if you see here, this .cpp extension, so it has the extension of .cpp, and this is the name I'm giving. So it changes according to what name you are going to use it. It doesn't, it's not important if you change it or not. This is always according to the project you're going to create. So I'm clicking on C++ file, and there's a header file here. Header file, inshallah, we'll study the header file as well. I don't think I can right now explain in detail, because you need to understand many things to understand the header file. Just understand that right now we need the C++ file, .cpp file, and we are giving a name, and we are saving in our project with the project first app, and inside the first app there's another project, another file folder, which the name is first app, and inside that, for the second first app, I have the source.cpp, and I am right now adding it. So this means that adding to my project, what I'm adding, a source file ahead of the or let's say the file that I can write my code inside it. So all the PHP, all the C++ code I'm having will be inside the CPP file I'm creating right now. I hope it is clear. Okay, so I have created it. It needs sometimes to and yeah, it's working. If you see here, the one file has been created. The file name is source.cpp, and here as well you can find the name of the file. It is source.cpp. So here I can write something, so it is available. I mean, it is editable. In here I have the size. This size is, I can change the size of the screen I have. So if you see here from the lower part, it changes. So I'm increasing the size of the editing thing I can. So for example, if I write H, so, and I'm increasing the size of the alphabet or the font, so it's here changes as well. And what should we learn here? There is tools as well. In the option, it's the same thing as as previously we have talked about. In the fonts, we can change things. In here, there's dark and blue light mode here as well, so you can change it from here as well. The theme you have, the dark, either it is dark or blue or light. And we can here change different things according to what our needs. I mean, customizing the different tools we have. Okay, so right now I'm in source.cpp, and I have everything ready. This is my full path to the source.cpp, and what type of the file I have. So it is C or C++ code. Both of them can run here. And what else we have? That's it. It's including a project, yes, true. And these are not very important things, just to know that where you are, and accordingly you can see what you can know. You know what's around you. Okay, so let's go to the PowerPoint. And in the PowerPoint, we have, after this, we have a very simple C++ code here. And look at this. We have double slash and a simple C++ program, it says, and then this hash, then include iostream, then using namespace std, then something like this. In the next slides, we are talking about each line of code. What does it mean? And before talking about each line, I'm going to just simply write the program here in the Visual Studio, just to see what will be the output. So what's the first line of the code I have? It is double slash and a simple C++ program. So this double slash, if you see here, let's say what is bearing a simple C++. So I'm writing a simple, let's say C++, oops, C++ program. If you see here, and let's try that the second line as well, and according to that we'll explain. I'm saying include what I'm including. I am simply including iostream. Okay. If you see here, okay, what's the problem? No problem. If you see here, there are these two lines have different colors. So include iostream, and a simple C++ program has different color. And if I write the same line of code, I mean the same line after the include iostream, you will sense that it is still having the same color, even if it is written after the include iostream. So let's write hello, anything. So it's let's say it's the green color. But if I delete this one, you see it is red underlined. Okay, let's. So this one is red underlined. Why is that? Because it's not accepting it. The color change and the color different change it. So this should be, this one is the reserved keyword. This one is the code I am writing. But this one, I can write anything, anywhere when I write double slash anywhere. So I simply write anywhere and I don't have anything. And if I write something that doesn't have a meaning, it's not showing me anything. But if I write something here like this one is underlined. It says error. So anything we are writing, if there was double slash before it, computer will not see it as a code. So computer is not going to see this line of code. It's not going to, it doesn't care about them even. So it's seeing that this lines of code, these two, any piece of writing, if there was double slash before it, computer understands that these two lines of code, this line of code, this green line of code, is for the programmer itself. So it's only showing, making a documentation or making something just to understand what he is doing. So this line of code is for the programmer itself. If I delete it or if I write it, nothing changes. It's just only, I mean, it's only to understand that I'm doing a simple C++ program, either writing program in 1M or double M or E. Nothing changes because this one, this line of code is only for me. And computer doesn't care about it, doesn't read it, doesn't, I mean, it's not going to change it to machine code, okay? But this line of code will be changed to the machine code. Okay, so I have include IO stream, and okay, we come to the next line. What's the next line? Let's see. It's integer main. So what does integer main do? Uh, Simply, you can expect it. Main is like what? So it's the main thing. It's the starting point, let's say. So main, we can understand the C++ program like this. This one is the head of the human. So any program with any person without a head cannot live. There's no people are in the world without head and can live. Maybe in the what do they say? Left limiter snack, some wahish and the others without head, they are going to kill other. I don't know about them, but there's no human being can live without head. So integer main is the head of the program. There is no C++ program at all not starting with main. So main is the head. It's just like how human being has head, C++ program has a head. And what's the head? It is integer main, okay? After the head, it comes the body. So any human being with only a head and without anybody cannot live. It doesn't, I mean, how come he's not going to eat anything? He's not going to show anything, do any task. So this one, the one between the brackets here, these things inside the brackets between, after the main, here and here, these are the body of our program. I should write all the code I have between these two brackets. So this is the structure of the C++ program, C++ applications. I cannot go beyond these rules. These are the rules. I cannot write any application that doesn't have main. And even after the main, there are these two braces. So it's always a must. Integer, main, two braces. And it should start with brackets starting and ending. These two lines inside, these are not very much important. What's important, these are it doesn't have a head? Yes. So integer main, braces is a head. Does it have body? Yes. Brackets, open brackets, closed, and something inside. I hope it's clear. So let's create our head, the head of the program. I simply say integer main, and I open the braces. What do we need more? I need the body. So I've created the body right now. Okay, so I have this line of code and then integer main, and then the integer main, which is the head. Let's say I'm commenting this. This is the head, and I'm commenting this. This is the body. So this line of code, this here doesn't affect the body. But if I make something like this, look at this. It's giving me an error. It says unidentified. Body is unidentified. So I should comment this out. What I'm saying, commenting out, means that this line of code, please, Visual Studio, understand that this line of code is only for the programmer, for me. Just I want to understand that I'm opening the body right now. I want to give a name. This is for me. This is only if I write it or not writing it doesn't change anything. So I want to write my documentation just to understand that when I come back to this code, when my friend came back to this code, when let's say my instructors see this code, understand that this is the head of the program and this is the body of the program. But when the program run, what do we mean by run? Change it to convert it to the machine code. These green lines will not be converted to the machine code, will not be converted to the zeros and ones. Okay, so right now I have the body and I have the head and I have this line of code. Okay, okay, very nice. What do we have else inside the body? Let's see. I have a C out and these two things, and then programming is great fun. And then look at the structure. The structure of a C++ code, these are known as expression. Expression in the English language, expression, it's just like has the same meaning of a sentence. So C++ program are composed of expressions. This line after the semicolon, these starting from C until the semicolon, it's known as one expression. And from here to here, it's known as the second expression. I hope it's clear. So how many expressions I have? I have two expressions right now. See out this and return 0. Okay, so see out what you are expecting. See out. So we can expect this. It is maybe simply taking out something or printing out something. Okay, so see out is simply printing out something on the screen for us. So I should write see out. So I write see out right now, and I'm writing what's the message. The message is programming is great fun. Let me write programming is great fun, exclamation, and then the semicolon. But when I save it, I see that there's an error right now. Error identified and C out is undefined. Okay, so what's the difference between my code, which is this, and the guy's code here, which is this? Look at this line of code using namespace std. So using namespace is the environment, std is the standard library. So std is a library which includes all the books I'm going to use it here. So this cout is part of a book. Let's suppose that. So std standard library is the environment I'm well, let's say you are going to a place, let's say to a carpenter, okay, Dartash. So what tools you will need, you will find in the dukan, okay, you'll find in the shop that the carpenter has. So the carpenter shop is simply a standard library. Okay, so when I wanted to make some tools, so to make some chairs, so I simply use the tools the carpenter has. So namespace std namespace standard library contains all the tools to use for the cout. Okay, cout is to printing some piece of writing to the user. So in order this error to take out this error, I simply need using namespace namespace, and if I wanted to, let's say I don't want to write everything, okay, we'll not care about it. Namespace, then std semicolon. Okay, so right now we know this line of code. What does it mean? We know what does this line of code mean. We know this is the body. We know this is the cout. And by the way, our error disappeared. And we know everything, but we don't know what is this about. So this is known as pre-processing. Pre-processing. So this is simply IO is for input, output, stream. So IO stream is simply simplified into input output stream. So if our program gets something from user, and if our program prints out something to the user, we need to use this library. Okay, so include IOStream is known as pre-processing libraries. Okay, they are run by the preprocessor. This line of code helps our program, helps our application to get something from user from keyboard or mouse, and to show something into the monitor or to the screen. So right now I'm able, if I don't write this line of code, so I make this one comment, I will face problem, because I'm basically saying that my program is not showing anything to the user and is not getting anything from the user. And it's not doing something like this because I have cout and it's showing me something. So I'll face problem right now. Okay. Okay, then I have run my program and there is return 0 as well. So I simply write return 0. Return 0 means that if there was a problem in my code, this return 0 will not be applied, and it will be return 0 means no error, no mushkila, no problem. And if my code has any problem, this return 0 will not come. So instead of return 0, it will show me return 1. I mean, we will see it. If my code it was everything good, so return 0, the code line by line will be applied, and this will be applied. So this means that my code doesn't have any problem, and this code will be run to the compiler, which changes my code into the machine code and telling that there is no error, zero error. So please apply changing or converting my code into the machine code, the high level C++ code into the machine code. Okay, I'm saving it right now, and here in debug, I think no, it should be in the build. Okay, in the build, just let me open the project solution open the file. So right now I'm in the project first app. In the first app, how many files I have? 1, 2, 3, and 4 files I have. And let me build my project. Okay, 4 files, and let me build my solution. So building is simply saying that converting all my code except the green ones into the what? Into the assembly code, which is both like some machine code with some of the assembly code, which are not totally the machine code. Okay, so if I open my file again, let me see if it is being built or not. First debug. So if you see it here, the file execution have been created right now because I have built my project. So this is the execution file. I can run it. Okay, so before I was doing the build, let me show you the other project. So project 2, in the project 2 I haven't written any code, and I haven't run my program or build my program. That's why I cannot see in the project 2 any build file. In the project one, the same thing. I didn't run or build my project, so it's nothing inside. But in here, there's debug, and inside the debug, I can see my exe file. So this means that my code have been successfully changed to the machine code and ready to be executed. Okay? And how I'm going to execute it here as well. Build started project, this one configuration this, and it's starting with the debugging, and it's saying build one succeeded, zero failed, zero up to date, zero skip. So basically this means that your code doesn't have any error, your code doesn't have any fail, your code is ready, and this one is up to date. Maybe it means that our code is the new version or the old version of the C++. I'm not sure about it. And but what's important here is that my code is successful, or yes or no, it's successful. So this is one point. Any error? No. So zero failed. That's the whole thing for me. So right now everything is done, and I can go to the next step, which is running my code. In order to run my code, in the build part we had some more things to talk about. There was build solution, rebuild solution, clean solution. Okay. So what this means is this: when I am first building my solution, this is for the first time. But if there was, I'm adding some more things in here. So I'm adding another thing. So when I go here, I do rebuild solution. So this means that either doing the build solution or rebuilding the solution, I don't think there will be any difference. But it will not build the first part which have been built. Maybe it's doing something like this. And cleaning the solution is basically cleaning the build part and the machine code in here. And when I clean the solution, you see this, everything is being cleaned. The clean started and these are clean. So when I'm doing it again, build solution is going step by step to do all the things again. Okay. And the rebuilding is for after editing on stuff, I can rebuild it, or if there was any error and I couldn't fix it, you see that the code, everything is right and there's no problem, I simply rebuild the solution. Okay, right now to run it, I come to the debug and start without debugging or start with debugging. Debugging means that step by step, seeing how the code is running in the Visual Studio, how it sees the code, how it's sent to the compiler, how it's everything in the background will be seen. We will come to it, how it's going, how the process is going on. But right now, for this simple program, either clicking on the start debugging or the start without debugging doesn't change anything. But start without debugging starts and runs everything and then finishes. But start debugging, it doesn't finish. So you should click on the close button at last. I prefer right now for when you have a program, simply click after building start without debugging. So I click on it, and you saw there was something. So Control F5 to start without debugging. So I press on it. It is showing me something, and it disappears. So what should I do right now? Just to pause the system to turn, not to let the program to run and finish and not showing anything. Just before the return zero, just before it, I simply write system and in braces. So what this means is this: after finishing everything, just before the return zero, just before showing that there is no error, please pause the system until I want the program to finish and finish everything. So right now I'm saving it, and I Control F5 for here the side debug. Start without debugging. I'm saying yes. Right now we see something like this. So a screen has been appeared, and look at this, programming is great fun. And after that it's saying press any key to continue. So this press any key to continue, this is the pausing of the system. That's why the system is asking me for inputting any kind of thing, any kind of key, just to close the system. So when I press, let's say, space, the system disappeared right now. If you don't write the system pause, I'm commenting this out. So commenting means that I'm hiding this from the compiling. So the compiler will not see this part of the this expression to compile. And I'm doing the debug again and start without debugging. And yes, you see that it's not showing anything. In fact, it's showing something, but in a now half of a second, maybe less than half of a second, it's showing me the screen and then disappears. How I am going to freeze it? Using system pause, or there is another way to do it. There's scene dot get, another thing just to make sure it's getting. We can find this source in the internet as well. There are different kind of people. I'm preferring system pause, and there are people who are preferring scene dot get. So I'm running it again. Start without debugging, and yes, and you see that it's the same, but this time it doesn't show me press any key to continue. So simply, yeah, I've entered, and yeah, that they're totally the same. This one is we should input something, then enter, and it accepts. Okay, so both of them are acceptable. There's no difference between them. Okay, when I run it right now, Control F5, I'm running right now, and I see that this one is next to my code, next to programming is great fun. So I want to take this one into the next line, just to make my writing different, or my writing be clear more to see it. So these two things I write, okay, these are the smaller signs, and I'm writing end line. So end line is forward. This means that after writing this line of code, after that, applying this line, make a end line. So return to the new line, then show me the press any key to continue. Okay. Okay. Control. I saved it, and I'm doing the Control 5 debugging. Start debugging. Yes. And look at this, programming is great fun. Then the new line came. Then press any key to continue. We can clarify more a bit about this one. Look at this sign. This sign means that put all these things. It's a directional like sign. So this means that put everything here into the cout and put all of this into the cout again. That's why it is showing us something. We will come to something more that this direction is changing. But in the cout, when I'm showing something, I should have this sign, not the other sign. So if it is this sign, this means that put everything from the cout into the code I have. But I don't want this. I want to show everything into the cout. So this means that if I'm supposing cout as a plate, I'm putting, let's see, the rice on the plate. So this means that put the rice into the plate. But if the direction was something like this, it means that put the plate into the rice. And it's not, I think it's not applicable right now for such case. Okay, we'll come to other examples when we are changing the sign. I hope this was understood. If we come to the slides again, right now we have talked about this one, which is a preprocessor using namespace STE, stands for standard library, integer main head of the function, and when we are saying function means that head of the body. Okay, and this is the body we have, and this is the inside of the body, and this return 0 is showing up whenever we don't have any errors. If you don't write this return 0, will it give us any error? No, there will be no error. So if I don't have this, I'm just commenting this, and if I run it, Control F5, it will not give me any errors. So you can see it. But always when it's better to write it. For now, we can just understand it like this. Okay. So in the next slide, this is the basic anatomy of the C++ program. It says every C++ program has the same essential format, standard library, the head, and then the body. and we have talked about each of them. So this one slash and something, so this one marks the beginning of a comment. Comment means that this thing will not be read by the compiler. The compiler is the thing that is a machine that changes my high level programming language into the machine code. Okay, ignores everything. The compilers ignores everything from double slash to the end of the line. That means you can type anything you want on the line and the compiler will never complain. Although comments are not required, they are very important for the programmers. I mean, it's not for the code. It's not part of the code. It's only the documentation, giving address to you go back to that place. You understand that this place is for this. Most programs are much more complicated than the example in program this, the program we have talked about, and comments help explain what's going on. So you are simply saying, in this part of my code, I'm doing this. In this part of my code, I'm doing this. So whenever your friend or you come back to the same example, you'll be able to see, okay, I have done this here, I have done this here. So commenting and documenting your things is very important. Including IOStream, you can have a look at these things. These are, I'll put the slide as well in the Edmodo, and you can understand that that's what we have talked about. The IOStream is, the IOStream file contains code that allows a C++ program to display output on the screen and read input from the keyboard. That's what we have talked about in the example before. We have also talked about the standard library. Declares that the program will be accessing entities whose names that are part of the namespace. So what does it mean? This means that whenever I'm using cout, I'm unable to access cout if I don't access this std. If I'm commenting this std standard library, you see this? There's a problem here, and there's a problem here as well. So to get rid of this problem, I can simply write standard library cout, and here as well standard library end line. This way it can accept it. So instead of all writing these stds all times, I'm just one time declaring this one time, and it doesn't need to write every time I need this std. I hope this is clear. So instead of writing std, then double comma, cout, std, double comma, then end line for any kind of cout and the other things we'll have in the next classes, I'm simply, first line, I'm declaring it. I'm saying I'm using standard libraries. Please, anyway, anytime you saw cout, end line, and the other things, be careful that I want to take these kind of things from the standard library. Okay. So this one is known as a function. A function is in Kurdish hirdar, firman, we can say. So function is, we can also say a task. It's a specific operation to work on a task or to finish a task. So function is, as a meaning, it's just something like this. In programming, we are saying that any kind of thing that has a type and a name and then something after it and then a body is known as a function. So integer main is a function, in fact. So we are saying this main, the whole program, is composed of a single function. And what's a function? The function is that as a structure, it's composed of a type. This is an integer. Integer means that from minus infinity, so minus infinity until 0, until plus infinity, they are all what? They are all integers. So minus 5 as an integer, 0 is integer, and plus 5 as well is an integer. So I'm saying integer main, so simply I can return either 0, 1, or 2, or minus 1, or minus something like this. Okay, so basically it's doing something like this, but it is declaring a function. This is how programming is working. So I'm saying this is the type of the function, this is the name of the function, this is the braces, it doesn't have parameters, you may not understand these, and this is the body of the function. So this one is the definition. This line is the, let's say, the head of the function, head of function, and this one is the body of my code and the body of main function as well, of main function, because main is basically as a function. My whole program is composed of one function, and this one function is doing a specific task for me. So this one is all under one function, which is the main function. In the future, we will be creating different kind of functions, and we will be using main function with the other functions as well. A function can be thought of as a group of one or more programming statements that are collectively has a name. And what's the name here? The main is the name. Here we have main, so this is the name of our function. And the set of parentheses that are following the indicate it's a function. Okay. The word integer stands for integer. It indicates that the function sends an integer value back to the operating system when it is finished executing. We have talked about these things. We can go through this. This is the line, the opening parenthesis. So this one is body of the function. Okay. Anything we wanted to be executed or to be shown by the let's say compiled by the computer and shown to the user, we have to write all the codes here. If I write some code, let's say I'm writing cout hello here before the main or after the main, it's basically an error. It will not accept it. You can see this. So it only accepts that it should be inside the main. It should be under the head in the body. There can't be a person that has no body. There can't be a person without head. Just basically understand this. So if the head is like this, I have to write all the body under it. Okay. Okay, we have talked about this as well. Okay. This one is the end line we have talked about. This one is the string. String means a sentence. String means string is a sentence. This one is about it. And but these are taken from the STD standard library. And these are all as a whole known as a statement or expression. Okay. I don't think there are something very different here to talk more about. This one is the STD we have talked about at last part. If I don't write namespace STD, we should write the STD before all of the others. And I mean, it should be either adding once and use it all the way, or you should always write the STD and return 0. Okay. For here we have talked about all the expressions, all the statements should finish with a semicolon, but look at here. The main function, if you see here, there's no semicolon after it. There's no semicolon after the closing and opening parenthesis. There is no semicolon here as well. So after the preprocessor, there's no semicolon. So I'm writing no semicolon here, and for the main as well, no semicolon. For the body, for the parenthesis, no semicolon. For the closing parenthesis, no semicolon. And for all the others, we should have a semicolon. So return 0, semicolon, 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 and the others. So for such cases, in the including IO stream, there's no semicolon. The main function is semicolon. It's clear, I think. It's not too much complex. And that's the whole thing right now for this basic C++ program. For the next step, we'll be talking about flow charts, and we'll go past different things, how we have written this code in C++. We can design this piece of code we have written, then we can code it. We will study these things in the flowchart. Okay, thank you and be well. Stay safe.